Today I have 15 Christmas memory stories that I will present to you in this video. This video will be more than 30 minutes long because I have 15 guests today. It's very exciting times. So sit back, relax, grab a drink, subscribe to my channel and have a listen to all of these Christmas stories. I'm gonna start with a bang, and present to you a Norwegian YouTuber that I found all on my own. I love his editing and I really want to promote his channel in any way that I can. I asked him to join my collab for the Christmas Memories video and he said yes, so I'm gonna start with him. He is Retrospill, a Norwegian YouTuber, but he speaks English in this one. The entry that he sent me is amazing. Have a watch at Retrospill.
Well, hello there. Please have a seat and I will tell you a Christmas story. Let's begin.
It was Christmas Eve of 1995 and a little boy named Christopher Robin waited for Santa Claus to arrive. Outside in the snow it was cold and windy, but all of a sudden a man in red came down the chimney. The Santa was agile, sporty and quick.
What did you bring me, dear old Saint Nick?
The boy was so excited, his emotions went crescendo. All he wished for was a Super Nintendo. Oh Santa, he brought slippers for Mom, Dad got socks with electric guitars, and little Christopher Robin, he got Super Mario All-Stars.
But I don't have a Super Nintendo.
The little boy cried, but before Santa could even answer, there was a terrible noise coming from outside. To everyone's surprise, there was another Santa Claus, but he didn't look so great. He gasped for air.
I'm so sorry, I am late. Here's your console, you spoiled brat.
This made the other Santa angry and ready for combat. He gave him a punch right in the face.
What are you doing here? This is my place.
The little boy could not believe his own eyes. The two Santa Clauses were fighting for their lives. It was so amazing, the fight of the century, and it turned into one of the little boy's fondest Christmas memories.
Next up we have Happy Console Gamer, one of my all-time favorite YouTubers of all time. And followed up we have Heemin Gaming Station, also one of my favorite YouTubers. I want everyone to check out his videos, he's so much fun. He edits well, I love his editing style, and I laugh a lot at his videos. He's really good and kind of underrated channel, I would say. So check him out as well. After that we have Sander Scullion, my good friend. I've known him for many years now and we talk regularly. So check him out as well. Make sure you subscribe to all of these channels. So here we go. Over to you, Happy Console Gamer, Johnny Millennium. Let's go.
It's like 4 Christmas Eves. Sorry, that's my impersonation of Irene. Thanks, Irene, for letting me be a part of your Christmas video. And I only have a very small story to share. It's not incredible, it's not unbelievable, but it is something that I remember from when I was 16 years old. I went to a mall. It was a big mall, and it was just before Christmas, and it was like so beautifully decorated. It was just incredible. I was there with my girlfriend at the time, you know, with her big poofy blonde hair, and some other friends of mine. And we were like, you know, like when you're kids, you just hang out at a mall, and we were hanging out at this mall on a night, and it was snowing outside. It was really classic Christmas, and it was just maybe around 2 weeks before Christmas came out. And as I had already said in another video I did, is that I knew the TurboGrafx CD player, my parents had bought it for me. I knew that was going to happen, so I was like, oh my god. And I remember I went upstairs to a Radio Shack, which showcased electronics and things back then. And I went up there and I watched the demo again for the TurboGrafx CD-ROM, and it was just like, oh my god, this is amazing. And then I saw another game playing, and it was this game. This is the Japanese version. I never did pick up an official TurboGrafx version of it, and that is Monster Lair, Wonder Boy Monster Lair. It's a side view shooting game. It's pretty cool. And I remember looking at that, and I remember just being like over the moon. I was like, oh my god, this machine is going to be so awesome. And I remember coming back downstairs and I'm standing with my friends and I just felt this level of excitement that I don't think I've ever felt since then, where I felt Christmas. I felt the excitement of the holiday season just coming in a few weeks' time. I felt the excitement of, the excitement of a brand new video game machine coming out. This is Christmas to me. But I saw the decorations and it was snowing outside and I was with this girl who I really liked at the time, even though she was a bit of a badass. And it was just one of those memories that I always remember, that Christmas getting all encompassed into this one singular moment in the mall of all places. And I just wanted to share that today.
Christmas! Hello, I'm Heemin Gaming Station, and Ircha Gaming has asked me to tell some stories from my life, some nice stories that have to do with Christmas and video games. Any times in my life where both of those kind of had something. I got a couple stories. I don't know if listening to them, is really that impressive, but they're special memories to me, and I just want to tell them real quick. Thanks Ircha for giving me this chance. So the first story comes from, I don't even know what year. What year did Mario Party 3 come out? It's this one. Here's the thing. I never had a Mario Party game, but I did have an N64, and I loved the Mario Party games. I loved going to my friend's house, playing them, yelling at them, because that game is completely luck-based. So I remember really wanting Mario Party and, never ever having one. And then this was the year that Mario Party 3 came out, and I got Mario Party 3. I was so excited to play this game. I didn't even finish watching people unwrap my presents. I didn't unwrap any more presents. I just right then and there just took off, went straight up to my room, popped in, and they're like, hey, Chet, you gotta come do the rest of Christmas. And I did, but I was just so excited to get a game. That excitement was just so great. I just thought it was hilarious that I completely forgot. And after the Christmas, I went and played that all day. Even though I didn't have any friends, Mario Party is not fun without friends, but I beat Mario Party 3's story mode. It had a single player mode. Who cares? But I do remember that. That's one memory. Another memory, much more recent, it was actually last year. This wasn't really on Christmas, but it was leading up to Christmas. I did a video, the top 10 Christmas levels in video games. And for that, I asked people before I made it to suggest Christmas levels for me. And so, just leading up to it, I think there's something truly special about playing Christmas games, in the December months. I was playing that Batman game, and, just seeing Gotham dressed up for Christmas, or the Pikmin. Oh man, I played a lot of the Pikmin because I played it just for that Christmas level, and it was so much fun. But honestly, if you get an opportunity to play, gosh dang, Animal Crossing on Christmas Eve. I know on Christmas Eve you got a lot of stuff to do. With me and my family, there's no way I'll ever be able to play on Christmas Eve legitimately, because we gotta sit around, we gotta read Luke 2, and we gotta drink eggnog. We gotta watch Christmas Story with the really racist Chinese scene. It's great. I love doing that with my family, but honestly, the atmosphere in that is so thick. I was really glad that I was able to play that. And the final memory, it's even more special to me, but I don't see why these memories are special to anyone but me. It was in 1997 or 99, I don't know. It was shortly after I had moved. It was definitely Christmas. We were in a brand new house. All my friends, they were gone. I was starting a new life, and I remember it was so great. This stocking, in fact, but I got the best stocking stuffer that year. It was the special edition Game Boy Color Pikachu edition and Pokemon Yellow. My first introduction to Pokemon games. I watched the show a lot, but finally, I got that, and it was great. With Pokemon, I was able to make new friends. That's how you bonded back in 1999. I was able to say, hey, look at this, and so great. The excitement I felt when I got Mario Party 3, being introduced to Pokemon on Christmas, and of course, just playing Christmas games, I don't know if those are special memories to anyone else, if you enjoyed hearing it, but I did enjoy just, saying that. So, I guess on to Ircha's next person. Thanks for this opportunity.
Hello everyone, Xander here from XS Gaming Podcast, sharing one of my Christmas memories. Now, I think all of us can nod and agree when we think of Christmas, and we think about video games, because that was the great way we were introduced to various consoles and various games. But one of my fondest memories when it comes to video games and Christmas is being introduced to the whole genre and the whole hobby to begin with by my grandfather. My grandfather was a huge gamer. He had an Atari 2600, and I used to always go to his house and play Missile Command. But it was the Christmas of '92 when he showed up to my house with this big box that he said that Santa left at his house, and it was the Nintendo Entertainment System bundled with Super Mario Bros. 3, and I remember that completely blew my mind. Me and my sister spent hours that day playing Super Mario Bros. 3. My Ninja Turtle figurines, my G.I. Joe play sets, all that stuff that I got for Christmas was completely obsolete compared to this bundle of joy in this little box called the Nintendo. And that just opened up my eyes, and it made me just fall in love with gaming. And that was always a bond that I would have with my grandpa for as long as he was around. That was just something that me and him loved, was video games. And so when I think about Christmas and I think about the fondest memories, of course I think about being introduced to video games, but I think about my grandpa, and I'm always so thankful that he did that. I mean, it was such a big, important part of my life. But that is my fondest Christmas memory. And to Irene and all of her viewers, I want to say Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and as always, Happy Gaming.
Our next story for you today is from the Game Chasers. One of my favorite entries to this video, I have to say. It was so much fun editing. Even though I am new with green screening, but my editing, I don't know. You can have a watch anyway. It's hilarious. Both Billy and Jay are in this video, telling their most fondest Christmas memories. Let's have a look.
Seems like such a poor fuck, though.
I mean, it's already been established. Not breaking any sort of news with that one.
When did the Genesis come out? Oh, you're recording now? Alright, Christmas memories. This needs to be a 2-minute video.
Okay.
You want to go first or want me to go first?
What is your favorite Christmas memory?
Let's see. My favorite Christmas memory, one that really stands out, was Christmas '92. We got a Genesis for Christmas, and along with that, I remember it was 1992, and it was right after the Summer Olympics, and you know, the dream team for Team USA basketball with Jordan and Pippen, Barkley and Bird and Johnson, and I can go on and on and on. But we got the Genesis. Obviously, it came with Sonic the Hedgehog. I also got Team USA basketball. I was extremely into sports games at the time, and I believe we got Pit Fighter and Golden Axe as well on the Genesis that Christmas. So, and I say we because me and Melbourne, Dodongo and whatnot. So
I mean, that's kind of where my story's gonna lead. But go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, no, that's a very fond Christmas memory, and this is kind of off topic, but that same Sonic the Hedgehog game that we got for Christmas, later on down the road, Melvor actually threw the case at me, and it hit me in the knee, and I mean, you can still kind of sort of see a scar right there.
How the hell did he actually scar you with a Genesis?
Well,
case?
Because the case is, the edge is kind of sharpish.
I mean, so he was
just blunt force on the skin.
He wasn't holding back.
No, he hurled it pretty hard at me, and no, he cut me on the knee and it bled, and I still kind of have a little scar to this day from that. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That needs to be drawn out.
Okay, let's draw that out.
That needs to be a cartoon. Mine is kind of along those lines, except it has to do with Super Nintendo and not the Genesis. So what happened was, me and my cousin Chris, my sister, we convinced her, even though she really wasn't into video games, we convinced her to give up her portion of the gifts that she would usually receive to put towards this bigger pool of getting a Super Nintendo. So we ended up getting the Super Nintendo along with UN Squadron, Castlevania 4, Contra 3, and Pilot Wings. And yeah, we got that all, but that was the only way we were going to be able to get that is if like all the parents and the grandparents pulled their money together, and it was like this is a present for all of y'all. So I didn't get anything else for Christmas that year, but if you're getting a Super Nintendo, with all those games, those are good games too. You don't really need anything else. So we were
true.
like, all of us were fine with that. And yeah, I remember leading up to that, the months and months and months beforehand, just looking at Super Mario World and Nintendo Power and being like, I can't wait to get this, because we all knew what we were gonna get. So yeah, that's the best Christmas I ever had.
Okay, that's it. Do we need an intro or an outro?
I don't think so.
Maybe
If I was editing it, I wouldn't need it. Sriracha Gaming. Thank you for having us on.
Sriracha.
What? Is that not it?
No, you idiot. That's not it.
Oh.
It's Ircha. IRCHA.
Oh, Ircha.
I hope I'm saying that right. CH is a K sound, but...
Well, now I want some sriracha.
Yeah, I was about to say sriracha's a sauce, you dork.
I'm gonna eat some sriracha. Excuse me.
All right. There you have it.
Next up, we have Tarks Gauntlet, a friend of mine on YouTube. He always comments on my videos. Followed up by none other than GameSack. They decided to join in on this collaboration. So good to see you guys here. After that, my friend PNG, I've worked with him before on a collab video. He has also a story to tell us today. After that, we have the old ass retro gamer, and to be honest, it is because of him that I got the idea to make this video, because he had recently, kind of recently anyway, a big collab with a lot of YouTubers, and I will link that video in the description. But old ass retro gamer, you inspired me to create this collaboration. So over to you guys now.
Hello everybody, my name is Tarks Gauntlet and I'm going to share with you my biggest Christmas memory related to gaming. Now this one might sound a little sad at first, but trust me, the context here is completely necessary. When I was a small child, my parents divorced, and I would only see my dad on every second weekend. Due to extenuating circumstances I understand a lot more now as an adult, my father oftentimes wouldn't show up for these weekend visits. This led to us having a very complicated relationship, to the point where, around Father's Day, when we would all sit in a classroom and make Father's Day cards, I didn't know who I should make the card out to, or if I should even make one at all. For a while, I didn't really think my father paid that much attention, or that he was really there for me that much. Fast forward to 3rd grade Christmas, and I swear, this was the Christmas that changed everything. Now, we lived below the poverty line, so either my father started selling drugs or he saved for a really long time and really hard to make this Christmas what it was. But in addition to a bunch of really cool gifts that he got us, he also bought the Sega Game Gear. I had no clue what this was when I opened it, never heard of the Sega Game Gear in my life. But he also got us a bunch of games with this, and one of those games I knew the second I opened it, and that was Mortal Kombat. Now, I was obsessed with Mortal Kombat. I was obsessed with the movies, and I was obsessed with the games. And for the first time, it felt like my father actually kind of knew something about me. I played the hell out of this game. And I never forgot what it felt like to open it and to receive all this stuff on Christmas morning, and it really kind of helped to bridge a gap between my father and I, and our relationship only grew since then. Well, it's true that maybe I received better gaming gifts over the run of my life. This one was definitely the most important to me, and the one I will cherish the most, and the reason why the Sega Game Gear is the most important system in my life. I don't think it's the best system, and it's not my favorite, but it's definitely the most important. And that's, without a doubt, the biggest video game related Christmas memory I have, because of the impact it had on the entire rest of my life. Dad, if you ever end up seeing this, I love you and Merry Christmas. Ircha, thanks for having me.
Okay, my favorite Christmas memory didn't happen exactly on Christmas Day, but you know, it might as well have as far as I'm concerned. So back in 1987, I really wanted a Sega Master System, of course, but you know, they were sold out everywhere. They couldn't be found, so what could I do? So basically I told everyone who was giving me Christmas gifts, instead of, you know, getting me something else, just give me money and I'll get it when they decide to restock the system. And that's what they did. Everyone gave me money, you know, pretty boring on Christmas Day, but like 2 months later, 3 months, I don't know how long it took them to actually restock the system in the stores, but they eventually did. And when they did, I went down there and I got my very first video game console that I could call my own, along with Space Harrier and Choplifter. And that was a wonderful day. And it started me on this journey of, getting my own consoles that I can call my own. And it's, I'm still on that journey today. So that is definitely one of my favorite memories.
All right, one of my Christmas memories, one of my favorite ones, is the year that the Game Boy came out in 1989. The system had come out in like July of that year, and I was wanting it horribly. Almost every day after school, I went down to my local Target and would play their kiosks. I'd play Tetris. I think that was the only game that was available in their kiosk at the time. So I played that over and over multiple times a week. And by the time Christmas rolled around, I'd cut out advertisements from magazines, from the newspaper, and place them all over my parents' house, in their cars, anywhere possible that they would see this and know that I wanted it. And when Christmas Day finally came, I did get that Game Boy, and I was ecstatic. I was happy beyond belief, and while everybody else was opening their presents, I was sitting under a lamp in the corner playing my Game Boy, as happy as I could have possibly been at any moment in time. And that is one of my favorite Christmas memories.
Hello there, P&G here. First off, I'd like to wish you all happy holidays. Second off, I'd like to thank Ircha Gaming for inviting me to be part of this vlog. Now, when I was a kid, I would constantly harass my parents and ask them, can I get Super Mario 64 please? I'd really like Super Mario 64. All my friends are playing it, and I'd like to own it. Now here's the thing, every time we went to Blockbuster, I would always rent Super Mario 64. So my parents thought, why not get a game that you've never played before? So they went to Blockbuster, went into the bargaining bin, and they found these two games, Stunt Racer and Snowboard Kids. Now, when I opened these up on Christmas morning, I was heartbroken. I was expecting something like Mario 64, or Ocarina of Time, or a game someone's actually heard of. But what I got was Stunt Racer 64 and Snowboard Kids, which I thought were bargain bin racing games. This is what ended up being two of my favorite N64 games. Now these are two of the most creative and unique games on the N64. You got Stunt Racer 64, which is more of like a weird retro style racing game where you can do stunts and flips, as well as many different campaigns. Snowboard Kids is a really quirky snowboarding game, and it just has so much more character than most of the other racing games on the platform. There's a sequel as well. I never grew up with it, but I got it recently. Now, Stunt Racer 64 is one of the most expensive games on the N64, as it was a Blockbuster exclusive. To this day, I am thankful to my parents for buying me Stunt Racer 64, because none of my other friends ever grew up hearing about this game, because I was the only one pretty much who had it. Because the only way to get this is to get it at Blockbuster once they stop selling the N64 games and putting them in the bargain bin. So, I had a very holly jolly Christmas. Me and my family played Stunt Racer and Snowboard Kids around the Christmas tree and sipped on eggnog.
Hey everybody, Chris the old ass retro gamer here, and I want to thank Irene from Ircha Gaming for inviting me to participate in this collaboration. And I don't celebrate Christmas anymore, but that doesn't mean that I didn't back in the day. And I'm a huge gamer, so of course I have stories about gaming during the holidays. I mean, duh. So how about I talk about when I got my GameCube in 2001. So I think it came out in November of that year, and I'm a huge Nintendo fanboy. Of course I want it. It's the new Nintendo console. It has to be in my life. And the reason I really wanted it was because it had a killer app coming out at the same time, and that was Star Wars Rogue Squadron 2 Rogue Leader. At the time that this came out, the Star Wars prequels were huge event movies. I was a huge Star Wars fan at the time too, so I needed to have this in my life. I wanted it so bad, I just had to have that console. The only problem was I had just started working at a new job around that time, and I didn't think I'd be able to afford to get one. So I'd asked my parents if they would be able to buy me one for Christmas. And I got an extremely solid maybe, which to my parents that kind of meant like don't count on it. I didn't think I'd be able to get one. I figured I'd just start saving money after Christmas and put aside money for it so I'd be able to get it. And my mother worked at Kmart at that point in time, and she, of course, knew everybody in the store. So if she asked somebody in receiving, you know, when the new packages would be coming in to be put out on the shelves, to look out for something specific, of course they would do it. So I'm assuming that that's exactly what happened, because one day my mom comes home from work. I think it was like the day of the GameCube coming out. My mom comes home and she's got this big bag from Kmart, and I'm like, there was my Christmas present right there. I was extremely impatient. I didn't want to wait for Christmas because, like I said, huge Star Wars fan. I had to play this. I had to play it because I loved the original game for the N64 so much. I just needed to have this. I'm off from work one day. My mom's at her work, my dad's at his job, my brother's at school. What's a kid to do? Well, I decided to go upstairs and find that puppy and plug it in and give it a play, because I knew exactly where my parents hid all of our presents, like for our birthdays and for Christmas and everything. So, yeah, I sat there for about an hour and a half and played Rogue Squadron 2, and I loved every second of it. I still think to this day it's a great game. So, as I'm playing it, I'm starting to feel more and more guilty. I'm like, oh god, my parents are going to find out that I did this, I'm going to get in deep shit. You know, what's going to happen? You know, I unwrapped the game, so, you know, how could they not know? You know, so after a while, I put everything back together and I put it back where I found it. No one says anything. So Christmas comes, the GameCube is under the tree, the game is under the tree. I open it up and I pretend like nothing had happened. I rip it open and I'm like, oh my god, it's the GameCube, you guys are the best parents of all time. And they just kind of give me this look like, yeah, whatever. So I'm like, something's up. So about a week goes by and I've been feeling guilty about doing it, you know, opening everything up in advance for a while. And I pulled my mom aside one day and I'm like, I just want to let you know that when you guys were at work and I had a day off, I opened up the GameCube and I played that Star Wars game for about an hour and a half. And she just looked at me like, duh. And I'm like, well, why didn't you say anything? And she just kind of goes, you're an adult. If you want to open it, you know, do it. We don't care. You know, you're going to get it for Christmas anyway. So, and we couldn't return it at that point anyway because you'd already opened it. So, you know, put me on more of a guilt trip. But, you know, it wasn't such a big deal. I made a big deal about it in my mind, but it wasn't. But I had a GameCube, and I loved every second of having that thing. And this is still an amazing game to this day. So that's my holiday gaming story.
Up next we have MrStruders, a nice little memory told by him, and followed up we have N64 Fun Time, kind of new channel to YouTube. I suggest everyone to check him out. He just started, seems like. Check him out, check everyone out actually. After that, we have Smash JT, happy to see you joining, sir. And after that, we have Retro Game Players. So, here are their stories.
Hey Ircha, how's it going? It's MrStruders here. Merry Christmas. Just saying, big fan of the channel. Always watch videos, great stuff. Yeah, just talking about fond memories for me, Christmas gaming memories. The biggest one for me, this beautiful game, Secret of Mana. I remember pestering my mum and dad for months and months, hearing about this game. I knew they didn't have much money, so I was like, just got into Final Fantasy 3, I think it was. I borrowed it off a friend and quit. It was a US import. And I just loved it, fell in love with RPGs, and then I saw Secret of Mana on the Super Nintendo and that was it. I pestered my mum and dad, I was just hoping I'd get it, and I got it for Christmas that year. Opened it, unwrapped, straight upstairs to my room, didn't even say anything to anybody. It was so magical. What a game, and that's one of my fondest memories. Just opening the Secret of Mana box, and just so good. Yeah, thanks to my mum and dad for that. Bless them. Anyway, thanks for the opportunity. Keep up the good work, and see you next time. Cheers.
Hello YouTube, happy holidays. Nintendo 64 Fun Time here. I'm gonna share a wonderful holiday memory with you. Probably my greatest video game holiday memory that I can think of, and that is probably the Christmas morning of 1990. That's the morning where I got my first gaming system. My first gaming system probably was what everybody else got, 1990 morning, Christmas Day. the Nintendo Game Boy. It was my first gaming system that I ever owned, and I can definitely tell you that that is why I enjoy gaming as much as I do now. It came with 2 games. I got Tetris and I got Mario Land, which I absolutely loved. And actually, portable systems were the only systems that I had probably for about 6-7 years until I got my Nintendo 64. So portable gaming was a big part of my life. It really got me into gaming. And what was great about that morning when I got the Game Boy is I was not expecting it at all. You know, we didn't have very much money growing up, which, you know, whatever, but getting the Game Boy and feeling that excitement, just thinking to myself, you know, there's no way that we can afford this or we're going to be able to get this. And lo and behold, Christmas morning, I open it up and I got 2 games with it. And I just fell in love with gaming. That was my first exposure really to video games. I knew friends that had the NES, but I never really got to play them very much. So the Game Boy was just such a big deal that Christmas morning. Really got me into gaming. Definitely my happiest Christmas memory as far as gaming, and I played it just so much. So there you go, short and sweet, Nintendo Game Boy. I stepped on it and broke it, so the only Game Boy I have at this time is my Game Boy Color. The screen unfortunately broke, but I don't have my original one anymore, but that's my favorite system for sure, and that's my greatest Christmas memory I have with games. Anyway, Nintendo 64 Fun Time. Always be gaming, and happy holidays.
Hey guys, Smash JT here. As far as my favorite Christmas memory ever, it would have to be back in like 1989 when the original Kid Icarus came out on the NES. And it doesn't even involve me, it actually has to do with my brother, who was like 13 at the time, I think. It was the one game he wanted all year, and he opened it up and got it. He was so excited to play. But we had a pretty big family, and he had to wait until everyone opened up all their gifts before we could go downstairs and play the game. I remember looking over at his face like it was yesterday. It was just excruciating pain on his face, just waiting and watching people open gifts slowly and not caring about what they were opening up because he was so excited about Kid Icarus. Now, that's back in the day when good games were kind of rare coming out. They'd be like 3 to 6 really good games worth picking up every year back then, compared to now where it's like 3 to 6 really good games worth getting every single month now. It just kind of highlights the fact of how good games were so much more important back in the day because there weren't so many of them. You could get to really experience and play them all the way through and enjoy them without worrying about another game hanging over your shoulder to play it and having a backlog, because honestly, backlogs didn't even exist back then. Nowadays you got Horizon Zero Dawn and Mario Odyssey and Zelda Breath of the Wild, just to name a few. I mean, there are honestly like hundreds of awesome games that are coming out every single year, and there's no way that all of us would be able to play and enjoy and grasp all of these games that are coming out now. Back in the day, though, you could really focus on these games and get the total amount of satisfaction out of playing them. And that's one of the things I really do miss about Christmas back in the day, is when you got a game, you were so excited to play it because that was the game you wanted. I don't know if that's really the same anymore for people. Maybe I'm just an old man talking about these games, reminiscing about how things used to be, but I really feel like there's something to be said about how these games made such an impact on people back in the day, and I wonder if that's being lost on today's generation with video games. Anyways, that's my most favorite Christmas memory ever. Thank you so much, Irene, for having me on.
Well, Merry Christmas, Irene. Thanks for having me on this special holiday episode. And for those of you who don't know, I'm Marcus with Retro Game Players, and today's story takes us back to Christmas of 1993, where I had been asking for a Sega CD for the entire year, and even before that, with the launch of the Model 1 Sega CD. Now, unfortunately, I didn't get this Model 1 Sega CD, which had the very cool tray, but instead it looked like this side sort of attachment, you know, that was the flip-up lid model. But nonetheless, it was a Sega CD, and I was extremely excited when I found that under my tree. What's interesting about it, though, is that my expectations of the Sega CD perhaps were a little higher than what they really were. So, case in point, it was sometime previously in the summer when I was playing Hyperstone Heist with a friend. We're almost beating the game. We're, you know, fighting Shredder, and my friend asked me, "So what do you think the Sega CD is going to be really like?" And I told him, I think that the Sega CD is going to let us jump behind this railing, explore the Technodrome, find another way to take down Shredder, and go to Dimension X, and I mean, I was just going off on this crazy, explanation of what Sega CD was going to do for gaming. Anyway, fast forward to, that Christmas. It was awesome opening that up. Probably one of the most memorable Christmases of my life, because the Sega CD still represents one of my favorite systems. However, the two games that I got that day, one was the pack-in game of Sewer Shark, which is an interesting game. Unfortunately, it's a tiny little window that you're playing through, so it's not that good. But sort of also in a really funny way, I don't remember asking for this, but this is what I got, was Prize Fighter, and that's another kind of weird, I would say sort of weak Sega CD game. So these are the two games that I had on Christmas of 1993, and yes, the truth is I played the crap out of them. I did enjoy it. However, I felt major limitations as far as what was going on because it was all FMV. Now, currently, there's a lot more games I think that are good for Sega CD. Lots of great games, but I do love the Sega CD. I will always love it, and I love FMV games. I love something about the cheesy acting and all of that. So anyway, thanks for having me on, Irene. I really appreciate it. Happy holidays. You know what to do. You keep that shit retro by playing your Sega CD later on.
I wanted to end this video with a grand finale. This YouTuber is one of my recent most favorite YouTubers. I watch everything he uploads. So, a good friend of mine, RGT85. Here we go.
My favorite Christmas gaming memory? We don't celebrate Christmas in my house. Nah, I'm just kidding, we do. My favorite Christmas gaming memory. There's a couple, but I would probably have to say the first one was the most important one and probably the best one. So I remember my uncle got an NES when I was younger, and I would watch him play games. He had Super Mario Brothers, and he'd let me play it, and I was just so amazed by the game. Like, it was just so cool. I had never played a video game before playing Super Mario Brothers, and I was just like, wow, this is amazing. I love this. And he had other games. He had a fishing game. He had Tecmo Bowl, which was super fun to play, and I always wanted a video game system, but unfortunately my parents, they couldn't afford a video game system. Well, my uncle ended up getting a Sega Genesis with the original Sonic the Hedgehog. So I remember Christmas morning at my grandma's house. I can't really recall the year. I was still pretty young though. We opened up all our presents, and then what my family would do is there would always be one present at the very end, and they would always make you think there wasn't a present at the very end, but there always was. It was the oh, what's this behind the couch sort of deal. So I remember we were sitting around, and it was the, oh, what's this behind the couch time. And so my uncle pulls out a bag, and he's like, all right, this is your special gift. And I'm like, oh crap, what is it? And since he had gotten a Sega Genesis, he actually gave me his NES with all the games he had for it. So I had Super Mario Brothers, Tecmo Bowl, I think there was a baseball game. Like I said, there was a fishing game, Super Mario Brothers 3. There was a bunch of good games on it, and that was my first exposure to video games. That's sort of what started this crazy thing that I do now. So it was a very impactful moment. It was a very special moment. And I remember setting it up on my grandparents' television and playing. Double Dribble was another game on there, and I was so amazed with how, when you would dunk in the game, it would go to this big character models and stuff, and it was really special. So that is by far my favorite Christmas gaming memory, because it's pretty much the memory that got everything in this mad world of RGT85 started.
So that was all the Christmas stories that I had in store this year. I will most likely repeat this next year. I'm very happy to see that so many great YouTubers that I watch and talk with wanted to join in on this. And I hope this video brought a lot of good Christmas feelings around. Most certainly did for me. I will tell you briefly a Christmas memory story that I have. And the thing is that my memory sucks, basically. But I will always remember the feeling. I think it was 2002, and I wanted Nintendo 64 games for Christmas. And I remember I told my mom and dad that I really wanted Paper Mario. And I also wanted Zelda Majora's Mask. It may actually have been 2001, for all I know, for all I remember. But I got on Christmas Day in Norway. I'm from Norway. We celebrate Christmas on the 24th, the evening after we've had dinner and stuff like that. We open the presents. I know, like other places in the world, you open the presents on the 25th, but we open it one day earlier. Anyway, so the evening 24th, Christmas Eve, I opened the package from my mom and my dad, and it was Zelda Majora's Mask. And I was, of course, extremely happy and satisfied with that, but as I put it in my Nintendo 64, it didn't run. And I bet all of you, gamers anyway, know where this story is going. They didn't know that they had to get a expansion pack, the little red and black thingy. But yeah, it was kind of okay because they said we are going to get you that when the stores open anyway, after Christmas. But you know you know how parents sometimes have like a second gift in store for you, and kind of like our GT85 story, like, oh, what's here, you know? And my parents did that. They had a second gift for me, and I'm so grateful. Oh my god, it's so ridiculous. But okay, I opened Paper Mario for the Nintendo 64. So that is my all-time favorite Christmas gaming memory. Playing Paper Mario on the 64. I played that game to death. I loved it. I loved it so much. I still love it so much. I'm so happy that my parents bought me that. They knew I wanted that, but I wanted Majora's Mask more. But I was not used to getting 2 games on either Christmas or birthday, because I was not a spoiled child or anything like that. I was super happy that I got 1 game. I mean, I was used to getting 1 game for Christmas and 1 game for birthday. And sometimes like in between. My birthday is in summer, so it's spaced out nicely like that. Paper Mario 64, my favorite of all time Christmas game. So now we have all told our stories. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, and I would love to see you around soon. Hang around here anyway. What? I never end my videos with that, but I wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year when we get to that. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you later. Subscribe to everyone. Check out my description box. Links to all the YouTubers. Thank you all YouTubers that joined in on this collaboration. Made me super happy. Merry Christmas, everyone. I'll see you later. Bye! Grand finale. This is one of my